Good morning, Paul. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, mate. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. I think a shark is in our waters because how do you not connect on Zoom? There must be a shark somewhere. I got to tell you what, shark has always been one of the biggest and best spiritual animals to check out. And so I believe in animal speak and animal spirituality. And it is a symbol of protectionism. And I mean, look at your own personal life. Look at how much that you have protected so many others as you have grown forward.
Well, I hope I have. That was part of my role in the military as a soldier and then a bomb disposal diver. And now, I hope I've given some people wisdom throughout the years to remain safe in the oceans and understand that it's not your backyard swimming pool, which is a wild place, and it deserves to be respected as such.
When you're beneath the surface of the ocean, the shark seems to be the dominant figure, or when people, at least that's the way that we're trained as human beings. Is it that way, or is it that they're just there and they're a part of the process of making sure that ocean floor is clean?
Yeah, that's exactly right. They are the dominant predator. They're what's called a keystone species, an apex predator. And in many environments, they are that apex predator. It's not always the case. You have situations like South Africa, whereby the orcas rule the oceans, and the great whites might be big and bad and scary, but those orcas come through and the great whites run scared. And so they do rule the oceans in many places most of the time, but they are also just a part of the equation that keeps that ocean healthy. And so they are extremely important.
What we're talking about today is Uncaged, Never Say Die, and really that's you. I mean, it's like you continue to push beyond the challenge and the changes. There's something about your personality that says, let's take it on, because you only get one shot at this.
That's right. I'm a busy man, mate. I got things to do, as we all do. We have goals to kick and pets to walk and jobs to go to and all manner of things. You can't waste time with all that negative worrying about things and letting fear stop you from doing the things you love. You got to get out there and live. And the funny thing is, as soon as you start facing those fears, and there's an old adage, knowledge dispels fear. You start learning about those things, you start facing them head on, and after a while you realize that you shouldn't have been scared the whole time, and you've wasted all of that time where you could have been enjoying life instead of just worrying about it. So I got to face that very early in life, many instances, and it's become a bit of a pattern for my life. And so now, especially after being eaten alive by a shark and surviving, really not that much left to be afraid of.
I can't imagine what you heard inside your body, because I mean, I've been injured, and I know that the sounds that you hear on the inner core of your ear, but when something bites into you, I can't imagine what you heard.
Mostly me screaming bloody murder.
Wow.
But the voices that I heard towards the end of the attack, so when it took me underwater, they beat me, I was trying to fight back, and I heard in my head, I've seen Shark Week, I've seen the crocodile hunter, jab it in the eyeball, Paul. And so I try and jab it in the eyeball, but I can't reach the eyeball because it's got my hand and my leg.
Oh, no.
So I'm trying to get off by the nose, I'm trying to punch it in the head. But then when I'm underwater and I realize that I am completely powerless, I thought to myself, you're not going home today. You're going to die right now. And the question that I heard myself ask was, are you ready to die?
You.
And I looked back on my life from where I started out, getting bullied through school, self-harming, flunking high school, getting kicked out of home, getting involved in crime and drugs, and just being a total waste of space, to kicking myself in the butt, pulling my socks up, getting my butt into gear and joining the army and becoming a soldier, serving my country, wearing the uniform, learning how to be a real man and a valuable member of society, and then going up to the clearance divers and learning that I can push my body and my mind beyond anything I thought possible. And so that really does it really just made me realize if I'm going to die, I'm ready to go. Like, I've lived 10 lives in these 31 years. If I'm going to die now, then I've lived a full life and I'm ready to go. And so now that I didn't die, I get to live a life whereby I'm not afraid of death anymore. And all I want is to go to my deathbed the next time feeling exactly the same way. I've done some really good things. I've helped some people, and I have no last thing you're going to have before you die. Your regrets and your missed opportunities. Yeah. So don't go to your deathbed with those. Make sure that you live life in every way possible, fulfilled as you can.
Don't you love that feeling, Paul? When because I've also been there, and the thing is that it's that feeling of who can I reach today? I may not know them, but who can I reach today?
Yeah, you never know. I had no understanding of how far-reaching. This is my fourth book. How far-reaching those books and those stories would go. Every time I get on stage and I come off, and I've had mothers and fathers break down in my arms crying with gratitude. And it's so amazing. Like, the smallest thing you can do might change someone's whole day or their whole outlook on life just by being a good person. A pat on the back, a handshake, a well done, a coffee and a chat. You never know what the person next to you is going through. So we should all just be a little bit kinder to each other.
The reason why I'm inspired by the title Uncaged, Never Say Die is because through Buddhism, you don't die. It's a continuation. And so I'm inspired by that because it says, it prepares my mind, body, and soul for, you're right. I'm not going to say that dying is quitting.
You've been reading the Dr. Brian Weiss book as well, have you?
Yes, sir. You know exactly where my eyes and heart have been.
Absolutely. I love those books. It does give you an alternate and a great polarity to what we've been taught through our lives. I love those books. So I hope they are true. I hope we do get to come back and relive our lives and learn lessons and then eventually move on to higher spiritual levels and teach those around us. That's a great way that the universe could function.
Now, what are you going to do, Paul, if the lessons that I just recently learned, it says that, what you become is what you dealt with in life. What happens if you come back as a shark, dude?
Well, I hope I come back as a big one. And I guess I love my seafood, but I couldn't bring myself to eat it anymore because I know what it's like to eat alive, and so I can't do that to another living animal anymore. So I stopped eating animals. So maybe I'll get to come back as a shark and I'll get to eat my sashimi again.
When you're up on that stage and you're about ready to basically just open yourself up so that others can borrow from your experiences so they can personally grow, what do you go through? Because there are many times I'll be on that stage and it's like I disconnect and I'm not even really there. My body is, my voice is, but I'm not.
Yeah, that's how it was in the early days because the only thing I was more afraid of than sharks was public speaking. And like when I was still in the Navy, working as an instructor, I had companies reaching out to me asking me to speak, and I was just like, no way, there's no way I'm doing public speaking. And then a cancer camp kid, 17, asked me to speak, and I was like, you got me. You can't say no to kids with cancer. And so I went to this room terrified with these 20 children. I like bombs and I jump out of aircraft. I'm scared of these children. And so facing that fear gave me the opportunity to go and actually broaden my horizon by doing corporate jobs. And I was exactly the same as what you said. I would work out my first sentence and my last sentence, and everything else in between I couldn't even remember. And I'd get off stage thinking, I don't know what I just said, but they clapped. It must have been okay. Now, I've learned to harness it, and so I go into a bit of a preparation mode, try and hit my kids, and take them on this emotional roller coaster. That's the main thing. And I've had 70 people pass out over the years from seeing the surgery photos. And I used to like that. I used to think it was really funny. Now it's very hard to get the audience attention back, and so I've had to tone down the gory photos. Which disappoints a lot of people, but I'm getting sick of jumping off stage and putting people in the first seat.
Does it start on paper first? Because I mean, you're a thinker. And you know that you have to trust what it is that's about ready to move through you. But where does it actually begin before it reaches us?
I mean, I've never written my presentation down, not one. I figure no one knows my story better than me. I always want it to come from the heart. I don't want it to be prepared or feel like I'm talking about something I've written down. Like, I want to live and feel it and let the audience live and feel it with me. So you can't do that if it's on paper. I just feel like it has to come from your heart and your soul.
There's got to be a website that people can reach out to you, because I mean, first of all, it inspires me that you're so motivating, and that you need to be on those stages, because people need you during this time post COVID-19. Where can they reach out to you and find out more about everything that you're doing, but more importantly, to get you on that stage?
Website, definitely. There's a contact page there. You can get me. That's just my name, paulgelder.com. I don't really use a lot of social media. Not me, but I do. Discovery Channel was like, we need you to post every day, Paul. So I get onto the Instagram, and then I just sort of feed the rest of my Facebook and stuff off of that. So Instagram, website, you get me those ways. It's pretty easy to find, really. Like, you Google Navy diver shark attack, and I pop up pretty much everywhere.
I love it. Please come back to this show anytime in the future, Paul. The door is always going to be open for you.
Anytime, mate.
Excellent. Will you be brilliant today, sir?
You too, mate. Take care of yourself.